Hello everyone, welcome to Drishti IAS. I'm your educator Rajni Jha and we'll be talking about the third chapter from class 9th NCERT Polity. Yes, the class has already started. The studio was a bit busy, so it got late by 5-6 minutes. We'll start. Yeah. So is my voice audible and the video is clear? Can you just confirm once? Am I audible and visible to all of you? Yes. Hi, good evening Vivek. Good evening, Ashok, Kanchan. I'm so glad all of you are here. Yes. Good evening, Bhanu. So, before I start with the chapter, I would like to know something from you. When we talk about democracy, the first thing that comes to our mind is elections. But have you really thought, are elections alone enough to make a country democratic? If a country conducts elections, can we say the country is democratic? So today, through this chapter on electoral politics, we will understand why elections are the backbone of democracy and what makes an election truly democratic. Yes, good evening everyone. All right, so let's start with the third chapter, which is electoral politics. The first question is, why are elections necessary? Now, before I start with this chapter, because you guys are still settling in, I'll just ask you one more question from yesterday's session, which is, yesterday we talked about India being a secular country, secularism. What kind of secularism do we have in India? Positive or negative secularism? I repeat, in India, what kind of secularism do we have? Positive secularism or negative secularism, and why? You also have to give me the reason for why do you think it is positive or negative. Elections should be free and fair also. Very good, Ashok. Yes, we will talk about 5 different concepts, 5 different characteristics which are required for a country to be called democratic, for the process of election to be called democratic. And one of them is this exactly. Yes, good evening, Kajal. Good evening, Adi. Great. So, what exactly is the kind of secularism do we have in India? Is it positive secularism or negative secularism, and why? Negative secularism. Why do you say so, Ashok? Did you attend yesterday's session? Yesterday we talked about this in detail. Did you attend yesterday's session? Shreya Kiran, I think that's your name. Yes, that is absolutely right. India has positive secularism because in India we respect every religion. So the state respects every religion equally. And there's one more concept here which I did not tell you yesterday because there was already so much that I told you and I didn't want for an information overload, which is, in secularism, there is a concept called principled distance. Whatever I told you about secularism, it's just that I'm just giving a term for it. So there's something called principled distance. Principled distance. What does that mean? As the name suggests, there will be distance. Yes, in India also, there's a distance between state and religion, right? There is no official religion, but it is principled distance. What does that mean? If at all it is required, then the state will interfere in religion also, in the religious affairs also, to ensure equality, right? To ensure equality and dignity of people. So you must have seen this in Shah Bano case. Is there any other example that comes to your mind? Principled distance, I repeat, is in India we have positive secularism and there is no state religion. There is no official state religion. India keeps a distance from all the religions. It respects all the religions equally. But if at all there arises a requirement, then it can interfere in religious affairs as well to ensure equality and dignity among people. Yes. Okay, this is your first class. No problem. We have already conducted 2 classes earlier, chapter 1 and chapter 2. I would urge you to watch those classes as well because we were talking about the very basic foundation and that is required for your preparation. Okay, great. Now let's start with today's session. Today we will talk about elections, as I've already told you. The first question is, why are elections necessary? See, in earlier times, what used to happen in older times, in ancient times, people would simply gather around, they will sit and they will decide on a matter, if something is to be done or not. But there were small communities, right? In small communities, everyone can just sit around and decide on a matter. But in modern democracies, in modern countries, in modern times, especially in India, the country is so diverse and so large, the population is huge, it is not possible for everyone to just sit and talk about a matter and come to a conclusion, to decide on something, right? Because our country, the population is so large, and because it is so diverse, there are different religions, different customs, different mindsets all living together. It is not possible for everyone to sit and decide on a matter and come to a common consensus. So what did we go for? We went for indirect democracy, which is also called representative democracy, which I told you yesterday also. What is that? Indirect democracy or representative democracy. What is that? In this democracy, we elect our representatives. I'm going to choose my representatives who will make decisions for me. For example, we choose our ministers, right? So that is representative democracy. And because the decision is not taken directly by me, it is indirectly made. I chose somebody and that person is making decision for me. It is also called indirect democracy. So this is something we studied yesterday. Now, why are elections necessary? As I told you, because it is not possible for a country so diverse and huge to sit and talk about everything directly and come to a common consensus. So we went for indirect democracy or representative democracy. And for that, in order to choose my representatives, I'm going to need elections. I will require elections. I hope it is clear. Yeah, definitely. See, the point is, no matter which competitive exam you're going for, the syllabus of GS is more or less the same. At least the foundational work is the same. So these classes are going to help you in any competitive exam that you're preparing for. I am specifically focusing on UPSC. Yes. All right, great. Just a sec. Let me see your comments. Which is the best democracy, direct or indirect? Himanshu has asked, which is the best democracy, direct or indirect? See, it really depends on the country that you are a part of, the country that you are a citizen of. We can't say which is the best, but we can say which is the appropriate for a specific country. For example, in India, even if we wanted to go for direct democracy, we could not. Do you really think the country as diverse as ours, where people have different languages, culture, customs, ideologies, thought processes, and traditions and everything, everybody will agree on the same matter? It is highly unlikely, right? So, and also voting by everyone on the same topic at the same time is also very highly unlikely. So we had to go for indirect democracies. So we have to see which is appropriate for a country rather than really thinking about which is best. The best one is which is appropriate. Okay. All right. So as I've explained, elections are required so that we can choose our representatives, so that those representatives can form government. They can make laws according to people's wishes. Now, because we have chosen them, we know what kind of ideology our representatives follow, and they will make choices according to our wishes. Not exactly completely our wishes, but they will be aligned at least. And remove governments if people are dissatisfied. If I see a government is not working properly, I can remove them in the next elections. This is why elections are required. I hope that is clear. Okay. The next question arises, what makes an election democratic? The first question that I asked you at the beginning of this lecture. Do you really think just because elections are being conducted, it is democratic? Of course not. There are 5 conditions which are required, which must exist for elections to be called democratic, that process to be called democratic. There are 5 conditions that are required. Condition number 1, everyone should have right to vote. This is something that we talked about yesterday also, that we have universal adult franchise. I will talk about that in a while as well. That is the basic requirement for a democratic process in elections. So everybody should have right to vote, and very importantly, everyone's vote should have equal value, almost equal value at least, right? So the value of vote of the poorest person should be equal to the value of vote to the richest person in our country. So everyone should have equal value vote. This ensures dignity of every person, no matter who you are, does not matter. Your vote, your one vote will have equal value to somebody else's one vote, right? Next, citizens should have real choices. What does that mean? I explained this to you yesterday as well. See, this is why it is important that you attend every class, because all these concepts we have talked about in yesterday's class as well, in depth, right? So as the classes progress, it is always built on the foundation of the previous class. So you should not miss any classes. And since I'm talking about it, let me just remind you that we have our classes live every day from Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. sharp. So if you're preparing for any examination specifically for UPSC, do attend them regularly live and also send it to your friends if you know that they are preparing for it and they want some basic clarity, foundational clarity. Okay. So the next is, I was talking about citizens should have real choices. Now, what does that mean? If there is only one party, for example, in one party states, there's only one party that is going to be there in elections and we'll have to choose them because there is no real option. So the very basic, another basic condition of democratic elections is the citizens should have options to choose from. The very fact that we want choices means that we should have at least two people, two parties, two options to choose from. So they should have options to choose from. There's another benefit of having options, that is, if there are say 2 or more, in fact 3 or more political parties, now they know that any one of them can be chosen, right? So they all will feel accountable. They all will function properly, because if they don't, somebody else will be there in line to replace them. So for elections to be democratic, citizens should have real choices so that they can replace the political party if the political party is not functioning well. Okay. Next, elections should happen at regular intervals. Now, I don't think this is something that should be discussed also, but anyway, because it has been written, I'll tell you. The elections are supposed to be held at regular intervals. Otherwise, what will happen if elections are irregular or elections can be cancelled anytime? Then again, accountability will be lost because the political party will think, oh, maybe this year the election will not happen, or 5 years later we will cancel the elections. So elections are not happening regularly. Why should we be accountable at all? The very fact that elections happen regularly, that is a must. They are performing well. Otherwise, they will be replaced in the next elections. So elections are supposed to be happening at regular intervals. And like one of you said, elections must be free and fair without any coercion. Nobody should feel pressured to choose a particular party, right? They should be free and fair. Ma'am, Prachi has said, ma'am, I'm in class 9th and I've been preparing for UPSC. Okay. My notes of NCERTs are complete from 6 to 9. All right, beta, the main notes that you should be preparing are from 9th to 12th. 9th to 11th in polity and 9th to 12th in general in geography and other subjects. So right now notes preparation won't really help you that much. 6th to 8th NCERTs are for basic foundation building. Okay. Yeah, in case of emergency only, the elections can be postponed, but otherwise the elections must be held free and fair. Yes. All right. Next, there's yesterday you said there's only indirect democracy in India, but in we are having direct. Okay. See, I was talking, when I was explaining to you democracy, I was talking about on a national level. Now we will talk about national, state and local level also, municipalities and panchayat, in our coming classes. I also told you I'm only going to talk to you about the topics which are there in that particular chapter of that particular class, and we will add more depth to it as and when the classes progress. Okay, great. Next, political competition. Now what is it? See, I just told you that if there are more political parties, 2 or more political parties, then the citizens truly have a choice to choose anyone, right? In that case, what happens is there's a competition that is created. Elections create competition among different political parties, and that has both benefits and a little disadvantage as well, but overall benefits always supersede the disadvantages. So the benefits or advantages are, they make leaders accountable. Like I told you, I just explained to you, if there are more than one political parties, what will happen? They know that if they don't perform well, they can be easily replaced, or the citizens will choose somebody else, right? Some other political party. So it makes them feel accountable and they work well. Second, it pushes governments to serve people better. The same point actually, this is interrelated. I just told you this. Gives citizens power to reward or punish governments. Again, the same thing. If there is only one political party, then in the next elections, I have to choose them because there is no option for me. But if there are 2 or more political parties, in that case, if elections keep happening at regular interval and the government is not performing well, I can replace that government with some other political party. So it gives citizens power to either punish them or reward them. Reward them how? If they are performing well, they will be elected the next elections also. Next, what is the problem? The problem is sometimes it creates political conflicts. Sometimes what happens is the focus itself of political party shifts to short-term gains, short-term popularity, and which is why problems such as vote politics you will see. You will see that there are a lot of promises at the time of elections. The reason is this: because there is so much competition, they start giving you false promises sometimes, and they work on vote politics so that they win this time. The next time they'll do the same thing and win again. So this is a problem, that they focus on short-term popularity rather than long-term goals or long-term policies, right? There is one more disadvantage, which is sometimes they may start using unfair means to win the elections, right? So that is another disadvantage. But overall, if we really look at it, because it makes the government accountable, because it makes the government accountable and because it makes the government work for us better, overall, political competition is actually good. Okay, before I move ahead, I think there are a few questions. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Sahil. Ashish, transparency, accountability, fairness. Yes, exactly. And freebies, right? The rewards that I was talking about. Vote politics, or they start giving freebies, they start giving free electricity and goods and stuff. So that is the disadvantage of competition, but overall the advantages are more than disadvantages. So political competition is actually good. Next, types of elections in India. So there are two types of elections overall. One is general elections. We already know about that. They are held every 5 years for Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. This decides who forms the government. The basic general elections that happen every 5 years, that's what I'm talking about here. Now again, see, I did not talk about on the local level, because in this chapter they haven't talked about local level elections. Okay, we will talk about them also as the class progresses. Next, by-elections. What are by-elections? So it happens sometimes that the political seat becomes vacant. How? Because of resignation or death, or simply because of disqualification. In that case, by-elections happen to fill these vacancies before the next general elections, right? Thank you so much, Akhilesh. I really appreciate, and I really like that you guys watch the videos. You are able to understand what I'm trying to convey. And again, if at all you have any more suggestions about the videos, or you want more classes on specific topics, anything, you can always write down in the comment section below. The team, and in fact I myself, I read all of the comments that you write. So again, I'm very grateful for all the great comments, and do keep commenting and do keep watching the videos. Great. Yes, next, electoral constituencies. Now what are constituencies? Constituency, see, the country, let's say this is our country. So the entire country is divided into small geographical units. These are called constituencies. India follows an area-based representation system. That is, the entire country is divided into small geographical areas, and that is constituencies. And each constituency elects one representative. Now this is very important. From each constituency, there is one representative, and usually it is made sure that every constituency has approximately equal population. Why is that? Can anybody tell me why usually when the constituencies are divided, it is made sure that they have almost equal population? Why would that be? Qualification. See, what you're doing is, now you're asking about qualification of Lok Sabha. What did I tell you? This chapter is about elections. We will talk about them. Relax. We will be talking about qualifications or eligibility for Lok Sabha and for Rajya Sabha membership. We'll talk about all of them. We'll talk about parliament in detail, but as and when the class progresses, okay, with each chapter. Great. So yeah, I asked you, why do you think that in each constituency it is made sure that the population is almost equal? Is the series enough for you? Yes, for foundation this will be enough. After this, when you read your advanced books, you will be able to understand most of it without even any classes or without any help. For answer writing, you might need help though. Yes. Why do you think that? Why do you think in each constituency the population is almost equal? The reason is, I just told you. What is the reason? that we want the value of each vote is equal. The value of each vote, that means the value of one vote of one person should be equal to everyone else. And how would that be made sure? Let's say this is an area and there are two people in this constituency, right? There is one person and second person, and they are choosing one representative. Now another area has four people in one constituency and they are choosing one representative. Now this is just for understanding, okay? So here, because two people are choosing one representative, the value of each vote is approximately 50%, that is 0.5, right? Here 4 people are choosing one representative, so it will be approximately 0.25%, the value of each vote, which is 25%, which is 0.25. So here the value of each vote is 0.25. Here the value of each vote is approximately 0.5. Do you think these are equal? These are not equal. This is why it is made sure that in every constituency, in one geographical unit, there are almost similar, the population is almost similar. This is the reason, so that the value of each vote comes out to be roughly similar. Now, of course, it is not possible that if in one constituency there are 1 lakh people, in the other constituency also there will be exactly 1 lakh. It could be 1 lakh, 1, 2, 3, 5, right? But this is the logic behind it. We try to keep the population almost similar for every constituency so that the ultimate value of vote comes out to be equal, similar for each. Yes, very good. The next is, yeah, so I said from each constituency, there is one representative that is elected. From Lok Sabha constituency, MP will be elected, right? From Assembly constituency, MLA will be elected. Because as you can see, MLA is member of Legislative Assembly. From Assembly constituency, member of Legislative Assembly, and Lok Sabha is a part of Parliament. So from here, member of Parliament. So one MP is elected from Lok Sabha constituency. And I know you have a lot of questions. Don't worry, we will clear them up. I am just trying to focus on whatever is given in this chapter. Otherwise, this will become a full-fledged topic-wise UPSC preparation class. And this is NCERT, so we are going to stick to that, at least for now. Okay, next is reserved constituency. Now we know that to ensure representation of weaker sections, the sections that have been disadvantaged, historically disadvantaged or left behind, and their representation is low. So in order to ensure their representation also, we have started, there is reservation, right, in the constituency. So seats are reserved for SCs and STs in Parliament and assemblies, and reservation also exists for women and OBCs in local bodies. And at the same time, there is a recent development which is Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam 2023, which provides reservation for women 33%. I'm sure you have heard it, in the legislatures also, right? So we also have a system of reservation. Why? Because there are some sections which have been historically disadvantaged and their representation is still poor. To ensure their representation, we have reservation. Okay, why is the representation of everyone required? Why is the representation of every section required? We are humans, we can think about them also. This is the question that you should answer. Himanshu, the roles of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, Vidhan Sabha that you have written, we will talk about them when we talk about Parliament. It is a different chapter. Okay. For now, let's focus on what I'm teaching you and the questions that I'm giving you. See, what my idea of teaching is, whenever I'm teaching you a topic, I always give you some topics, some concepts to think about. When you think yourself, your critical reasoning develops, and that is essential. I cannot emphasize this enough. That is so essential for your examination and for interview also, right? For prelims, for mains, for interview, for all the stages, it is essential, and it is a very important, crucial life skill itself. It will help you in your life also. So let's focus here. And my question is to uplift weaker section. Okay, but my question to you is, why is representation of everyone required? We can think about them. We can also raise their issues. So why do we need their representation? You understand my question? My question is, let's say we're talking about women. So can't we think about women? Can't the people already there in legislature think about women? They have empathy, they can think about them. Why do we need women in that legislature to think about women? This is, now I have made this very easy, the clue that I have given you. You should be able to answer it. Every vote is equal. Yeah, every vote is equal, that is true. To give views of all because it makes governance better. Views of all, yes, you're close, you're close. More answer, please. You're close. Everyone's experience is very good. Yes, Shrujan, absolutely right. Everyone's experience is not the same. And what a woman has experienced, a woman only can tell how she can have a better experience, what changes are required to make her experience better. Or the same goes for other people also who have been historically disadvantaged. A privileged person at max can imagine this must have been the case, but they cannot truly understand what they have gone through, the other section have gone through, what the other sections truly require. So we need representation from every section of the society, right? Next, electoral rolls or voters list. So I'm sure all of you know about this, all of you are adults, so you must have voted in your life. So before election, an official list of eligible voters is prepared, and that is called electoral roll or voters list. Now, why is it required? So that we know for a fact that nobody is missed out from the elections and no fraudulent cases are added into the elections. So a list is required where all the eligible voters should be there, right? And it ensures equal voting opportunity for all citizens, like I explained. Next. Yes, there are some new students. So for the new students, I would like to tell you that this class is a regular class from Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. every day. And this is live and this will stay after the class also. You can watch it later as well. And if you haven't joined yet, if there are other friends of yours who would like to join, please do send this to them as well. Okay. Next is universal adult franchise. We have talked about this yesterday as well. I told you that especially in India, every citizen who's 18 years and above, they are considered adult, right? They can vote and there will be no discrimination based on caste, color, creed, place of birth, religion, wealth, education, or whatever grounds. There will be no discrimination, right? All of them are eligible to vote. Now this chapter comes to an end, but before we do that, we have a lot of questions before we end the session, but these are the key concepts that we have studied in this chapter. I would like to see how many of you are able to answer these questions. How many of you have understood these concepts? Yes, good evening. You are a little late. The class starts at 6 p.m. sharp every day, Monday to Friday. So be on time. The first is representative democracy. Who will tell me what is the meaning of representative democracy? This was the first concept that I told you in today's session. What is the meaning of representative democracy? Ma'am, I think girl from 9th class is not an adult. Anyone who's 18 and above is an adult. Okay. Representative democracy, I just explained to you in the beginning of the lecture. What is that? A democracy where we choose or elect our representatives who make decisions for us, like in India, right? So people themselves don't govern directly. They choose their representatives and those representatives govern them. That is representative democracy. Very good. Yes, Bhanu, absolutely right. Shrijan, very good. Indirect democracy is another name for representative democracy. Next is electoral competition. What is electoral competition? Now see, why I have given you these words is because in your answer writing, it is always better to write some sort of technical words. Some words that look like you have studied actually. You just don't know the layman, you just don't know only the layman terms. You know something subject specific. And these actually help you to write good answers. And that's what I thought yesterday. I'm going to include key concepts from every chapter at the end of every chapter. So what is electoral competition? People elect their representative to make decisions. Yes, that is right. You have already answered that. Very good. Yes, Ashish. Electoral competition happens when there is not only one party, right? There are different parties, political parties that the people get to choose from. So there is competition between them, which is why they are more accountable, right? So political parties compete with each other, right? They compete with each other for public support and that's how they form government. Absolutely, great. One or more party competition. Very good, Naveen. Absolutely. Next is universal adult franchise. Now this, all of you should be able to answer. This is something we have studied yesterday. This is something we have studied today as well. So what is universal adult franchise? Very good. Yes, that is every adult has the right to vote. That is universal adult franchise. Next is electoral constituency. What is electoral constituency? I just explained it to you a little while back. What is electoral constituency? A country is divided into several geographical units, right? That is electoral constituency. Absolutely. Great. Next. Several geographical unit, and from each geographical unit, one representative is chosen or elected. This is electoral constituency. Next is free and fair elections. I don't think I should be explaining this to you. All of you already know this, and such terms are especially, they act as value addition in your answer writing. Next is political accountability. This comes from electoral competition. When there is electoral competition, then the political parties always compete with each other to win public support, and this also makes them accountable towards public, right? Next, reservation in elections. We have already studied that there are certain sections in our society who have been historically disadvantaged, and those sections got reservations so that their representation can be adequate, so that they can also put forward their issues. Next, democratic legitimacy. Now, this is something I'm really interested in knowing from you. What do you think is democratic legitimacy? What is democratic legitimacy? See, we can break this word, right? It's a compound word. Let's break it. So it has two terms, democratic and legitimacy. Legitimacy is, of course, this chapter is about political party and elections. So we will be talking about legitimacy in political parties. How does legitimacy in political party comes? How does legitimacy in political party come? That comes from being chosen by people. Right? That comes from being chosen by people. That means a government in India is legitimate. The government in India gets legitimacy because it is chosen by people. This is democratic legitimacy. So people accept the authority of the government because they have elected the government. Yes. Equity-based society. Equity-based society, which one do you think? Oh, you're talking about the reservation. Yes. The term equity also I'll explain when we talk about fundamental rights. There is Article 14, right to equality. In that, I will explain to you how equality can be ensured by understanding the differences. And for that, we need equity also. Yes, we will talk about that. Great. Next. Now we have a prelims practice question. Then we have a mains practice question. So this question you have to answer in the classroom itself. I'm going to read it. Everybody listen to it very, very carefully. Yes, you are right, Prachi. That's what I explained, right? Democratic legitimacy is people accept government's authority because we have elected the government, right? They get their legitimacy because we have elected them, because people have elected them. Okay, so the question is, with reference to democracy, consider the following statements. First, the mere existence of elections automatically makes a political system democratic. Second, in a democracy, final decision-making authority should rest with elected representatives. Third, universal adult franchise is based on the principle of political equality. And fourth, protection of rights and freedoms is unnecessary if elections are held regularly. I will just move from the screen so that you can answer. You can look at the question and then answer it. So yes, look at all the four statements and you have to find out which of these is incorrect, right? You have to find out which of these is incorrect, not correct. And the options are A, 1 and 2, B, 2 and 3, C, 2, 3 and 4, and D, 1 and 4. Make it quick. Everybody can easily answer it. D, that is 1 and 4. All right. What about others? B. Rakesh has said B. Naveen has said D. Adi D. All right. C and A also. Okay. Are you going to answer all the options? Some of it, at least one of it would be correct, right? Okay. all right, so let me just tell you. First says the mere existence of elections automatically makes a political system democratic. Is that right? No, it's not. This was the opening statement. Just because somewhere elections are happening does not mean the process also is democratic. There were conditions for it. There were 5 conditions for it, right? So this is wrong. Next, in a democracy, final decision-making authority should rest with elected representatives. Is that right? This is something we studied in yesterday's session, if you remember, that for a democracy to exist, the final decision-making power should be with the people we have chosen, the representatives we have elected. Otherwise, what's the point of having elections in the first place? So this is this is right. It is saying it should rest with these people. So this statement is right. I'm not saying whether this is answer or not. This statement is right. Next, universal adult franchise is based on principle of political equality. What does that mean? Political equality is the value of vote of each person is the same. And that's what it is based on. Universal adult franchise is every adult person has the right to vote and each one's value of vote will be same. So this statement is also right. Next is protection of rights and freedoms is unnecessary if elections are held regularly. Is that right? No, this is not. Why not? Let's say elections are being held regularly. So we know for a fact the elections will be there in next 3 years because 2 years have already passed. But if people do not have rights and freedoms, if their rights and freedoms are not protected, that means they are not allowed to criticize the government. They are not allowed to change the government. They are not allowed to vote the government out because they do not have that freedom. They will be forced to elect a particular government over and over again. So what is the point of having elections, right? So for elections and for democracy, it is important that along with elections being held regularly, people also enjoy rights and freedom. If media is censored, what is the point of having elections? If media is censored, what is the point of having a government? Right? So this is wrong. And we were supposed to answer which statements are incorrect. So the answer would be first and fourth. And many of you have already answered option number D, and that is correct. Next question. Next question says, with reference to electoral constituencies in India, consider the following statements. First, each constituency elects one representative. Second, constituencies should have roughly equal population to maintain political equality. And third, a Lok Sabha constituency elects member of Legislative Assembly. You have to tell me which of these statements are correct. Options are 1 and 2, option B 2 and 3, option C 1 and 3, and option D 1, 2 and 3. Yes, which is the right answer? The right answer is, no, that's okay, Himanshu. We make mistakes and that's how we learn. So it's not a problem. Yes, many of you have already started giving the answer and they are correct. Aman, think about it again. The rest of you have answered correctly. First is each constituency elects one representative. Isn't that what we studied? That the entire geographical area is divided into smaller geographical units and each unit elects one representative. Next, constituencies should have roughly equal population. Why is that so? I've also explained it to you. I told you that let's say in one constituency there are only 2 people and they're electing one person. Other constituency there are 4 people, they're electing one person. Then the value of vote of each person is different, which is not political equality. So it is done so that political equality can be maintained. So this is also right. Next, a Lok Sabha constituency elects a member of Legislative Assembly. I think this was the easiest statement that I've read today. Lok Sabha constituency elects member of Legislative Assembly. Is this right? Of course not. This is wrong. Here, MP will be elected, not MLA. So third is wrong and the correct answer is 1 and 2, option number A. And now we come to the last part of our session, which is mains practice question. Now let me tell you again, as important it is to have a strong foundation for UPSC preparation, it is equally crucial to practice answer writing from day one, because when you read your answer that you've written on day one and when you read your answer that you've written after a year, you'll see there was huge difference. In fact, forget 1 year. Even after 1 month, if you have written consistently, because in every class of mine, I give you 1 mains answer writing practice. So if you have done it regularly, religiously every day, you will see there was huge difference, tremendous difference in your answer writing style when you compare to the day 1 to day 30th. So this step cannot be ignored, and I cannot emphasize this enough. All right, so the question is, you chose the wrong answer because of, yeah, that happens. See, this is what that's what happens in the examination also. Right now you don't have a pressure, right? But in examination you'll have pressure. In examination you have spent so much time, energy into everything, into studying. You have sacrificed so much. So of course there'll be a lot of pressure. So in a scenario where there is no pressure and you are making mistakes in reading, do you really think in examination you won't? You will be making mistakes, right? Which is why it is important to practice questions for prelims as well as mains before the actual days. So the question says, elections are not merely a mechanism to choose governments, but the foundation of democratic accountability, political equality, discussed in the context of electoral politics in India. Okay, so the first line itself should tell you, first of all, the main word here is elections, right? And the first line itself should tell you that they're talking about the fact that elections, choose governments, right? They choose government. So that means for representative democracy, elections is the core. And that's how I can start, right? I told you in the last class also, whenever you read a question, try to start, introduce your question, introduce your answer from the question itself. And then try to conclude your answer also from the question itself, so that it becomes a complete circle, right? So the first line says, elections are not merely a mechanism to choose government. That means in choosing government, elections are important. In what kind of democracy we use elections for choosing government? In representative democracy. So we can start with, elections are the core of representative democracy, right? Something like that in the introduction. Then it says, but the foundation of democratic accountability and political equality. Now see, both of these I've already explained to you. So in the introduction, I already told you what you can do. In the body, first you will explain how elections are important, because the first line itself talks about elections being important for choosing the government, right? So you will tell how elections are important. So this is the first part. Second part, you will write how they are the foundation of democratic accountability. How? Because we have seen that when elections are held regularly, the government feels accountable. Otherwise, the government will be replaced in the next elections. And there are conditions for free and fair elections. All those are under democratic accountability. So you will write here, the third part here is political equality. What is political equality? Universal adult franchise, right? The value of each person's vote is equal. So you will mention both of these things in that part. Then we have also seen reservation, right? Reservation is also a factor for political equality. We have seen reservation is important because it gives inclusive representation. So you'll mention that also under this heading. Then you can write few challenges. We still have some challenges. For example, what kind of challenges do we have in elections? Vote politics. Because of the competition between political parties, there is vote politics. There were freebies. We talked about it. So you can write 2 or 3 challenges. And finally, you can conclude. So that's how you will write this. I will also give you a framework. Don't worry about it. So introduction, elections are the core of representative democracy. Like I told you, you can explain it a bit, maybe write 1 more line. Then in the body, importance of elections in modern democracy, because this was the first line of the question, right? Then conditions for free and fair elections, role of electoral competition in ensuring accountability. This was the first part of your question right here, democratic accountability. Next, universal adult franchise and political equality and reservation in elections for inclusive representation. This talks about political equality and the challenges. For example, money, power, unfair methods to win elections, or short-term populism. And finally, you can conclude. So that's how you will write your answer. Now see, I always give you the bullet points. All you need to do is frame sentences from this. You already have a model answer. And I'm telling you, even though I've given you all the points, to frame sentences and find coherence in different paragraphs, you will feel like initially it is really difficult. But over the course of a few days or maybe a month or 2, you will start realizing that this process has become easier for you. Writing also forces you to think. And as I tell in every class, thinking is very important, not just for examination, but for your life itself. It's a life skill. Do you have any questions? That is screenshot. I think you guys get the PDF? No? I don't know. You can take the screenshot. If you have any questions related to today's session, please do ask. I would love to answer them. And tomorrow we don't have a class because it's Saturday, but Monday to Friday, as I told you, 6 p.m. we have class every day. If you have any questions, you can ask from the chapter, right? Okay. Naveen. Thank you so much, Naveen. I'm really glad that all of you have understood everything that I've explained. I'll see you again. If you don't have any questions, I will see you again on Monday. Yes. And I do want to tell you, all of you actually, because I'm sure all of you will be coming to my classes now regularly. I can assume that. But if any of your friends are watching or are preparing for the examination, do send them this video as well. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you again on Monday. Until then, take care.